Welcome to our season-long competition, the battle of the family members. I was going to say bands, but we're not a band. Or none of
Berlins.
us have a band. The battle of the Berlins, sure. Now they know our last name. I guess it's my last name's right there anyways. Season-long competition here. We're going to do a scoring system fantasy / kind of betting style. We're going to do 18 weeks of this competition. We each kind of fill it out a sheet. All these videos are going to come up on Saturday of each week. We'll keep track and keep score and update you. Today's the very first video as we're heading into week 1 of the NFL season. And it's going to look something like this. I'll share my screen here to kind of make a little bit more sense of what this is going to be. What we did, we have kind of 4 parts here. We chose a fantasy lineup. This is based off of a standard half PPR league, half PPR, 6 point per passing touchdown, -2 interception, all that good stuff. So we fill out a fantasy lineup. We have 3 different game picks against the spread that we're choosing. As you can see here, we have our first choice, our second choice, and our third choice. Our first choice is like the one we feel the most confident in, and that will reward us the most points if we get it right. 3 points for our first choice if we get it right, 2 points for the second choice, and then 1 for the third. We have our highest scoring team, lowest scoring team. We're going to make a prediction on who we think scores the most points and who scores the least points. 2 points each there. And then our Hail Mary pick is a running back that's ranked outside the consensus top 40, or a wide receiver ranked out of the consensus top 60. If they finish in the top 12, we get 5 points there. And then the fantasy lineup, if you win, you get 5. If you get second, you get third. And if you get last, like you are, Dad, you get 0 points there. So we're going to keep
How can I be last already?
We just know already.
Yeah, well, I'm definitely in the lead because I picked a player that played tonight. So
yeah,
experience always trumps everything, man.
If the NFL cancels the rest of the week, Brian, you win. So yeah. But Dad, we're showing your picks here. We're gonna spend just about 5 minutes on each person here. Again, we'll start with the fantasy lineup. We have starting at quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, and a flex. Important note here: when we choose a player, we cannot choose them for the rest of the season. So a little bit of strategy involved there. So Geno Smith, for example, for you, Dad, cannot be picked for the rest of the year. So you want to talk us through a little bit? Did you have any tough choices? And what was your overall strategy? Did you just want to just go for the best players, or
well, you don't want to go large, like, oh, I'll take Mahomes first week or something like that. So it's kind of looking for somebody who's in middle of the road quarterback and who has the potential of doing pretty well. And so I said, yeah, Geno, the game's at home, and let her rip. And so that's why I picked Geno. So
yeah, against Denver. Against Denver, not a bad choice.
Yeah, I'm not sure what Denver's defense is like or anything. I don't know. I'm not. Seattle. They seem to be getting a lot of chatter here in the last week. Like people ignoring them and stuff like that. So it's like, well, new coach, new offensive system, all that stuff. So still got the same old players there, wide receivers and all that other stuff. So we'll see what happens there. You want to just continue on?
Yeah, you can go through it. I noticed you didn't. You kind of chose like second tier guy like for each position. Yeah, no Justin Jefferson or CMC, and is that just trying to pace it out type of thing, or?
Yeah, let's I'm hoping some of these guys hit, and like I said, I didn't want to. We're going to do this for 17 weeks, 18 weeks. Yeah, so you got to kind of pace yourself a little bit. Kamara, he scores pretty good in fantasy. He's because he catches a lot of passes and stuff like that. So David Montgomery. I know Gibbs is he's the main focus there, but Montgomery was 1,000-yard rusher and 10 touchdowns last year. So those guys aren't chumps.
Mm-hmm.
Metcalf guy, he's he hasn't just rolled off the turnip truck either, and he should be hopefully, if Gino has a good game, Metcalf's having a good game. So let's do
the stack. I know you love that word, Dad. The stack.
I thought it was a handcuff. Well, I don't know. So.
God damn it! You don't know
what handcuff, whatever. Yeah, just some fantasy geek BS word, but anyway.
You mentioned sorry, real quick. You mentioned the turnip truck. I was just wondering when's the last time you guys have had a turnip?
I don't know. Never.
It's been a while for me.
The last time I played Super Mario 2.
Shit. So like last week, maybe?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
I guess that means, that you're not a dumb shit or something. So.
Yeah. Brian, what do you think of the lineup here? I know you didn't complete it there.
No, that's fine.
What do you think of his lineup? Kind of going a little bit conservative, kind of. I mean, all these guys are good players, obviously, but no, top-notch guys.
Well, yeah, I mean, besides Laporta, I guess,
true.
At his position. But no, yeah, it's kind of funny because some of it mirrors some of my lineup, and I'll talk about that a little bit when we flick over to that screen. It's a little scary how much me and Dad think alike, I guess. Like I might have to get my head examined or something.
And we didn't even talk about this, so there was no collusion or anything like that. So,
and by the way, I know you have to trust me, but I don't look at yours until I make mine. Just so you know.
Yeah, sure.
Your game picks. I actually messed up on the spreads. Texans is fine, -1.5. That's your kind of biggest lock. The Vikings and the Browns should be both +1, +1.5, just so you know.
Vikings. I'm sorry. The Giants are favored.
Yeah, I know. That's
Vikings
should be plus.
Yeah. Okay.
Both these should be plus. I was a little bit surprised you chose Texans as your kind of like that's your main lock. The first one is like, if you get that right, you get 3 points. So you're basically saying you have the most confidence in the Texans like covering the spread this week. I was a little bit surprised about that. Just division game at Indianapolis. Any thoughts there as to why you went Houston? You just think they're the real deal?
Yeah, I liked it. The spread was pretty close, and I do kind of feel Houston's going to be a pretty good team. I don't know if they're Super Bowl bound, like some geniuses say, but let's see what happens. Let's roll the dice a little bit. So let's the third one,
Now, does it bother you that oh, sorry. I think I'm on a little delay.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say that Indy smacked the Texans around in week 2 or something last year. I didn't realize that game was so heavy.
I don't even look at that. Each year is different, I think, and stuff like that. So I probably should have paid attention. It is a divisional game. So divisional teams usually play each other pretty good. So
yeah, for sure.
I think the Browns are going to beat the Cowboys. So
and you're getting 1.5. So
yeah,
that's an interesting one too in Cleveland. It's going to be kind of probably a defensive battle, to be honest. Potentially, who knows? You say that, and then it's a 45-40 game or something. And then real quick, highest scoring team, Lions, makes sense. They play the Rams. I mean, they're one of the best offenses in the league. Lowest scoring, Patriots. That's going to be a common theme throughout all of these. And then Hail Mary pick was Jalen Polk, and I kind of like it. You take the unknown of a rookie. Who knows? Is he going to be the main guy? Is he going to show out? So did you have any other guys in mind when you were choosing here, or was it just you saw Jalen Polk? And
no, I just I looked at the list and and I kind of bounced some names around, and I thought, yeah, I think this guy. I've had this feeling since preseason, watched him a little bit, that he's and it may not happen in this game, but this guy is he's gonna be on people's fantasy radar here eventually. So I just thought, yeah, why not? He could have a couple of touchdowns and a few catches, and next thing you know, he's jumping up the board. So
yeah, for sure. So there's a possible 20 points available. Again, 5 points if you get first place in the fantasy lineup. You can get 6 total points in the game picks, 3 for your first 2, and then 1. So that's 11. And then you can get 4 more points to the highest in scoring and lowest scoring, 2 points each there. And then 5 points for the Hail Mary pick. So we'll see. I wonder if any of us are going to hit this Hail Mary the entire year. Brian, we'll go to you here. Your lineup, you talked about it. Some similarities to your father. What did you have?
What?
To say?
You picked Godwin as a flex?
Yeah.
And Laporta? Oh my God.
Well, Laporta, it makes sense. Godwin's kind of funny. So go ahead, Brian. Talk through a couple highlights here.
Yeah. So I mean, basically,
Lions and Patriots. Jesus Christ.
That Lions Rams game is the highest over under projected, for total points. So I wanted a piece of that. So that's why I got Kupp in there and Laporta stacked with, or Kupp stacked with Stafford and Laporta, just to kind of get parts of it. I debated a lot on the tight end, actually. Like I was kind of thinking about doing some weird shit earlier, like earlier when I was like, oh yeah, Zach Ertz, why not? Like I think he's gonna basically be the wide receiver 2 there, maybe behind Eckler. So, and we've only got a few games before he gets hurt too. So that was kind of the general idea. Josh Jacobs, not a lot of competition. No competition. He looked really bad tonight too. Well, not he looked bad, but they just weren't getting him going.
Yeah, what do you have? 100 total yards and a couple catches?
He had some nice runs there in that second half.
Mm-hmm.
So I was happy about that. James Cook, Arizona, just bad run defense as of last year, plus depleted receiving core. So I thought it was kind of easy. I know, Dad, you said that you're kind of thinking about saving guys. You got to pace yourself a little bit, and we've run these kind of competitions before during playoffs. I don't know if you mentioned that, Mike.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, we did it a few times, and for there it's a little different because guys get eliminated, and then you're like, oh, I missed out on these guys, and it's only 4 weeks long.
Yeah.
So a little bit of a different strategy, but I was just kind of like, you know what, I'm just gonna pick a bunch of good guys because I guess it doesn't really matter if you can't use them again if they have a good game, right? Then you just kind of have to figure it out on the back end. So there's definitely some strategy there.
Another difference with that, because I was thinking about that too. In my original lineup, I had Tyreek Hill, Justin Jefferson, all these studs, and then I was like, because I was thinking that playoff challenge, but then I was like, but that playoff challenge was I believe it was a total points type of thing, whereas this one is if you go all out week 1, you win week 1 and you use all your studs.
Yeah.
Well, what about week 2? Week 1's not the be all end all. It's only 5 points.
I remember that playoff challenge we did, and I thought the same thing about pacing myself. and I don't think I did very well in those things.
Yeah. Those always, well, it's so much different too, because once we got down to the final week of the playoffs, it's like, everyone's basically playing the same guys if they have them at all, and so it really came down to that last week in that format. So you're right, this is different, but I guess I kind of carried some of that mentality over. And I did have T. Higgins in here instead of Devontae Adams, but you were so generous to let me switch since
you are unbelievably cursed. Like, he wasn't even on the injury report.
I know.
And then you chose him for your lineup. Brian has a history of his players just getting injured very early on. Since it was about 2021 when it started. It was like J.K. Dobbins, and then you pick up Gus Edwards, and then he went down. Dude, nothing about T. Higgins injured. Brian picks him for this lineup, and then T. Higgins is doubtful with a hamstring injury.
Just instantly.
Yeah, that just happened. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll definitely if there's any of those, because that's not really the point of this. So if there's any guys that don't end up playing, we'll sub them out and stuff like that. No problem. But game picks, unless you had something else with the.
No, that's pretty good. Yeah,
Cardinals
so game pick.
7.
Yeah, these were a little bit trickier. I was usually I don't really like the huge spreads. Not that these are double digits, but they're kind of borderline. And that that Bengals one might come and bite me, especially if Higgins and Chase both don't play. But I think Chase is going to play. But Bengals against Patriots, it's just kind of they suck basically. So. That's kind of that plays into my lowest scoring team being the Patriots. The Cardinals, I think, getting 7 points against Buffalo, I'm just not sure what Buffalo is going to look like without Diggs there, kind of, and I don't know. They're going to look different for sure. Not that I don't think they can win, but I picked Arizona to win straight up in the pool, without the spread. So that was kind of a little bit of a different pick. I think I'm the only one who picked them to win. So I kind of like that, and kind of similar. It's Tennessee +5. I kind of like that against Chicago. I think Tennessee wins that game straight up anyway. So getting 5 is pretty nice. So, but yeah, picking against the spread's not easy. Obviously, there's a reason why you can win money doing it.
Yeah, it's the Bills feel like a team that might take a couple weeks to get going. So I kind of like that pick with the Cardinals covering the 7 points. So
yeah.
And then
the Hail Mary pick, Adam Thielen. It was just basically just looking down there that far on the list. I wish Mike Williams was 61 because he's actually number 60. And I was like, I like him. But I don't know. I kind of stuck with Adam Thielen because, basically he was the guy for Bryce Young early on. And if I don't play him now, I'm not going to be able to play him later because, he's older. He's going to slow down throughout the season. And, these guys that are at this part of the list, get pretty iffy pretty quick. So that was kind of the idea there. There's obviously a lot more target competition there with Leggett being drafted and Deontay signing, but it's might as well just throw the dart on him. Why not?
Yeah, there's it's interesting. I was actually looking at matchups and stuff, and with Carolina, they're playing the Saints, right? And the Saints outside cornerbacks are really good, and that they're expected to line up against Deontay, and their slot corner is not very good. So I actually think this is a pretty solid pick. Of there's already that familiarity with Bryce, and he's going to have a way better matchup than Deontay, so could work out for sure. And then the same highest and lowest scoring, which makes sense there. So
yeah.
All right, I'll show you my pick. Actually, my picks has some similarities to yours as well. It's we're related or something, all of us. Fantasy lineup, I went Anthony Richardson. I just wanted to get him before he gets hurt. So that's basically why I went with him. I want those points. I think that's going to be a good game too. ETN, I like that matchup with Miami. I think that could be a shootout. So I went there, and that's why I also took Tyreek Hill and Michael Pittman to pair with Richardson. Kenneth Walker, again, against Denver. They were kind of bad against the run last year. They were kind of like the remedy to like, oh, you have a bad run game. Like, here you go. Here comes Denver. Trey McBride. So I still did go very heavy on like elite guys. Trey McBride and then James Cook. I just think could really do well there against Arizona. They always kind of struggle with like, remember Arizona being like really bad against like tight ends. It's like middle of the field targets and those short area targets. They've like consistently been bad at for the last 3 years. So that's kind of James Cook's area.
I actually had a note about that because I almost picked Kittle because the Jets were kind of middle of the road against tight ends last year. And then I actually wrote in my notes, no, I need to save him when he plays Arizona. Like,
yeah, no, it's true. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if you guys have any comments there, or if you think I went a little bit too far with the studs, or
yeah, you went a little large, I think. And that's fine. Trey McBride is projected to be an upper echelon tight end, and Tyreek Hill, ETN, one of the better, possible top 5 running back. And it's interesting. Both of you guys picked the Bengals game, right?
Yeah.
-9. I looked at that, and and this, I was thinking, I guess we're all projecting Cincinnati, or not Cincinnati, New England to really suck.
Yeah, we all picked them with our lowest scoring.
Yeah, we'll see.
I don't think we're projecting. I think we're just remembering.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, it's Jacoby Brissett. Like, so. I mean, also with Trey McBride, I figured maybe Marvin Harrison Jr. might take a couple weeks for him to get going, and Trey McBride could be big, especially in the first couple weeks. But I originally had like Bijan and I think Justin Jefferson as well. I was like, I need to save a couple bullets at least, so I changed that up. The game picks, the Bengals, we already talked enough about it. Jets, I actually picked them to win. In our pool as well. So I just figured, I'll take it with the 5 points. Just think it could be, especially with, Trent Williams and Ayuk not really playing until last week or earlier this week and stuff. So it could be a little bit of rust, and that could really mess up Purdy if they can get after him. So, and then the Titans, we both talked about it. So, rookie quarterback, I think the Titans are improved overall. I think they're going to be a kind of a sneaky team. So, I also picked them to beat the Bears. So 2 of the same 3 picks, although we had them in different. I think, did you have the Bengals first or second?
No, I had them last just because of that spread. Last. But I mean, I had Arizona first, which
that's right.
A big spread too. So,
but I mean,
I don't mind these. I think the scariest one is the Jets, obviously, because that's the only one that we have different. But
for sure, I mean, whenever you're picking against the 49ers, like it's always a little. It's just McCaffrey beat up, not practicing, Trent Williams, Ayuk, all that stuff. Kind of, I just think the Jets are actually a really good team if Rodgers can be decent. And I think the Bengals are like really want to prove something this year. I think Burrow's that type of player, like. All right, Fox, you forgot about me. Like, here we go, So high scoring team, Dolphins. I mean, they're always just on fire in September, especially because they kind of, in their home stadium that they, I think they were talking about on one podcast, but I heard this before too, that the away bench is like directly in the sun. While
in Miami,
Miami. Dolphins are in the shade in Miami in September. Like,
well, supposedly it's this time of year that, and they always make the that team wear their dark home jerseys.
Yeah.
So they always come out in white.
It seems like cheating.
I don't know. I think it's
little gamesmanship.
Gamesmanship, man.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, I just think that might be a shootout as well. Go ahead, Brian.
They also only give them salt water to drink.
Right. Yeah.
Blake Corum. I like that.
I didn't change. I put the wide receiver Blake Corum, running back, obviously.
Yeah.
I actually wanted to go.
Can't change it. Wide receiver.
Right. I actually wanted to go Darnell Mooney, but he was 58th. That was like my first one that popped in my head. I just think, we all went into last year like, oh yeah, Cam Akers, and then Kyron Williams, had a big game week 1, and so did Akers. But we'll see. Maybe Kyron gets hurt, or I don't know if running backs are the way to go here. Wide receivers, but I just figured maybe there's a chance like Corum's their guy. I don't think so, but maybe there's a chance he is. So, or Kyron Williams gets hurt returning a punt, and yeah. So
yeah, I was kind of thinking about that too. Like, our running backs versus wide receivers the way to go, because you get the shorter list with the running backs, and plus you figure like if someone gets hurt in front of them, they really have a chance. So yeah. I want to only pick running backs for the rest of this competition.
but then you get like the Rashid Shaheeds who, come out of nowhere and give you 3 for 150 and a touchdown, and that's top 12. So, but yeah, that is our competition. We will have a punishment. If anyone watching has an idea about a punishment, let us know, but we will do a punishment that we'll try and maybe record and all that stuff. But we will keep this up. We'll keep you updated and give you an update on the score next week. Every Saturday morning, these will come out. So enjoy them at your leisure. Any last words, guys?
Dad sucks.
Hey, Malik Willis.
Yeah, Malik fucking Willis.
Better be scooping him up.
He's on my team still for some reason.
Better be dropping all your Packers receivers, because he's not going to be able to throw the ball to him. But real great start for the NFL though. The first 2 games of the year,
very entertaining.
Yeah, for sure. But good luck this weekend. Enjoy college football tomorrow, or I guess later today.
Go Blue!
Watching this and full slate of Sunday games. So appreciate you guys, and we will see you all soon.